so sorry I'm late, guys. Crazy, crazy morning. All right, let me just make sure my audio is good. We are good to go. Okay. Cool. All right. We got a cube right here to throw around if we need it. Let me check this other cube. Make sure the mic's good. We're going to get rolling. How are you? I'm going to see if this other cube is good to go. Yeah, oh, I got a live mic. No, it's on the wrong one. Let me just see if it's good. I can't wait to hear how it went, Moises. You could throw these around if anything. All right, let's get rolling, guys. Sorry I'm late. Doesn't matter how early I get here. I think there's like a million things I wind up getting distracted by. Pull this out, make some notes. All right, yeah. So some new faces. I'm Carlos. This is our Wizards of Ecom meetup. There's going to be a lot more people coming. We have these meetup events every Saturday, and then we have other networking type of events and meetups through the week. We have the events in Miami, Tampa, Orlando, Orange County, LA, San Diego, and now we have a chapter in the UK. I started the group over 10 years ago to connect with other sellers, just to level up my seller game as a seller and learn other things. And the process just turned into something I really loved. And now we do what my wife describes is a divorce-worthy amount of hours dedicated to this meetup group. And now my closest friends, like family, or you guys here at the group, I've been a seller myself for full-time for 15 and a half years on Amazon. It's been amazing. Having said that, I wish Amazon had 2 or 3 other sales channels that were cutthroat competitors with them, like right up there with them, where we can sell that sales volume on a lot of other channels. I think the competition's good, and the more channels that we have to sell our products, the better. My selling model on Amazon, my passion is primarily private label, which is starting your own brand. This group's not a dictatorship though, so I really made it to where I started with garage sales, selling some of my expensive ex-girlfriend stuff on eBay, storage auctions, wholesale, got into private label, I've done merch by Amazon, Kindle Direct Publishing, influencer, all of them. So I can appreciate that me coming in here saying that I think the best thing for you to do selling on Amazon is getting into private label might not be the best fit for you. So I try to make sure that we cover a bunch of different models. Private label, while it's the most rewarding for me where you're starting your own brand, it is the riskiest of all the models, like hands down. And it requires most capital. I put the number now, the opposite side of what everyone on YouTube says. Private label, I think you need to be in the 30 to 50,000 range to start, and I'm skeptical about 30. Like I could show you how to blow 30 quick, just in a lot of setup cost. It also really depends on how much experience you have. So the less experience you have with product selection and just business in general, I think 30 is a great way to lose a lot of money. So you do have access to a community like this. This is a sales-free zone, so nobody here is going to ask you to go to the back of the room and like tap into your 401k at the end. It's like literally, I'd like to know what you guys do for your jobs now. We can network. All ships rise with the tide, that type of thing. This camera is not catching any of you. It catches here. So somebody might be looking. Is anyone looking at the stream yet for any questions? Can I volunteer you? Yeah. You might see me look at this camera, and that's because we have a lot of people watching the live stream. Don't think I'm like checking myself out in the lens. It's just, sometimes it gets a little awkward if someone's asking you a question and you're staring, like I'm staring at Bruce, but somebody on the stream asked me a question, so I look at the camera. I gotta make a rule about these cowboy hats, I think, man. Oof.
I put on this hat this morning, right?
Oh man, you had to know I was gonna say something.
And I just pictured you saying something about this hat.
A cowboy hat, man. Does anybody have a replacement? Okay, so our Saturday meetup events, the structure is that we begin with a beginner hour. So that's what we're in right now. I'm gonna do some group announcements. We're gonna open it up for some questions that anybody has about getting started. A very fair question for this hour is, I don't know what to ask, and I can lead it from there. If nobody asks any questions, I'm gonna pick some random topics. I might pick on a few of you. If you don't wanna be picked on, you can just go like this, and I won't ask you any questions. And that's the idea. Like, believe me, the questions you have, other people have, they're just too scared to ask. At 2 p.m., we'll get into our topic of the week, which is an amazing title. I know what I was gonna talk about, and that is the things you need to do every day in your Amazon account that no one talks about. Obviously, that's not sexy enough to get you to attend, so I stuck it in my favorite tool now, which is ChatGPT, and it came up with this amazing click-worthy title that attracted your attention. So I don't remember word for word what it says, but that's what we're talking about. And it's the things that if you're neglecting them on a daily basis, you might be slowly putting yourself out of business, but you're most definitely leaving a lot of money on the table and not being efficient. Since this is not, when I created this list and I created the meetup event, I obviously created it for a private label business. So then I pivoted early this morning, and I'm like, wait a minute, could I just create a totally different list, set of 10, because it's 10 things, for a resale business? There's actually a lot of overlap, regardless if it's a private label business or a wholesale business. So I do have a few extras that wouldn't fit into the private label list, but that do fit into a resale business that I'll share. And then at the end of it, me just trying to like over deliver, I realized none of this says anything about PPC, which is advertising. And once you open up the advertising PPC can of worms, you need to create a whole other list. So I created yet another 10 things you should do on the PPC side of things that you can take into account. I do not think that we are gonna have time today to dive super deep into the PPC stuff, and with a bunch of mixed experience levels here, nor do I wanna put you to sleep with some acronym soup with ROAS and ACOS and all that here on a Saturday afternoon. So we'll keep it kind of high level. But Amazon is a pay-to-play, almost everywhere is now, but it is a pay-to-play business, and Amazon's new #1 profit source, I think they're predicting by 2026, is going to be their advertising channel. So they want you to pay to get sales and get exposure, and they're doing a heck of a job at it too. All right, some announcements. Did not have time to set this up ahead of time, so bear with me with some sponsors. You see sponsor banners that are on the back. This place, the snacks, the coffee, there is zero chance in you know what that my wife would allow me to come out of pocket for this for 10 years on my own, and not charge you, because nothing personal, but if it was up to my wife, everyone would be paying to come in here if she's giving me up on a Saturday, right? So the workaround for this is sponsors. We say no to more sponsors than we say yes, but the sponsors we do have, they pay a couple dollars each month, and they help offset a lot of the costs that you see around us.
Can you give me an example of a sponsor you said no to?
An example of a sponsor that I said no to. Let me think.
And why?
Yeah. Let me think, because I don't want to embarrass the person since this is a stream. But do I have to say the person's name, or can I give just rent? Okay. Yeah. They have a dashboard. It would be a tool that had a dashboard. They said they would give me a 85% affiliate commission, and they would also share the emails and personal data with me. And when I asked how did they get some of the personal data from the person, they said that their software plugged into a bunch of public databases, and that they could pull some of that personal data. And I said, to be honest, I don't know what to do with that personal data. What other data do you get though? At this point, it wasn't because I wanted it. At this point, I just wanted to know like what's going on. And they said that the main thrust of their business is they're a resale business, and their software got to see in their dashboard, it got to see the products you sold. So if you were a reseller, you loaded the products you were able to secure as a reseller into your account. They now knew what brands they should call to open up reseller accounts with. So they were gonna be your competitors in getting that data. So I was just like, well, that's a hard no, you know? Even though they were offering a lot of money. I guess we're kind of blessed to be in the position where if we want to make a lot of money, we can just find a product and make a lot of money and sleep great at night. But there's a lot of stuff out there like that right now. There's also some softwares that pop up and they're like, we're selling this service, and I'm like, what's the difference between this one and, you know, ABC? And they're like, there's not. We just white label it, but we're better at marketing. And I'm like, so you want me to like get everyone to pay more for yours than what they could get? So things like that. Or I just don't think they have great customer service. Like, they have a great product. I liked it so much that I referred a bunch of people, and everybody came back to me and were like, so-and-so never responded to me. I'm like, well, I look bad now. So things like that.
You got a few questions on the stream there.
All right, we haven't even got into the topic yet. I love it.
First one, Belle is asking, hey, can I get the recording for this webinar?
Yes, it will be on this YouTube channel that you're watching it. Yeah, it'll be here on the stream.
Next question is from Contour Living. Is there a strategy for a brand to then collaborate their products with private label for a market share strategy in niche?
Hold on, say the question again.
Yeah.
This is Kate. Yeah, I know the structure of this question.
From the top there is.
This is probably one of the smartest people I know. So like, this is going to be a good question. Let me hear it.
Very good answer.
Yeah.
Is there a strategy for a brand that to then collaborate their products with private label for a market share strategy in niche, or better, to focus only on single brand?
So is there a collaboration strategy that two different brands can do together? And I'm going to shorten the rest of that to where they mutually do well on the platform. I'm going to say yes. One of the ways I think somebody could do that right now that nobody else is doing is the amount. And first I just said it because everyone else was saying it. Then I was saying it because I saw it. Then I started doing it. And what you can do with TikTok right now, it just defies description. And specifically on TikTok, I'm gonna say influencers, but when you hear that, you're like, oh yeah, that means 40 hours a week reaching out to a bunch of people who never respond. No, there's Discord channels out there that you can join as a brand. And I'm actually, just full transparency, I'm trying to build one. Once I saw this, I'm like, wait a minute, on the agency side of things, this would be amazing, but I need to test a lot of stuff before I put my name on it. We've been doing that for a while. Enough to validate it, but not enough to walk and say, hey, so-and-so. But by the way, Kate would be the first person I would reach out to when I'm saying, hey, I got this ready, and let's do this. But they exist already, and you go to them and you're just like, look, I'm looking for influencers, but I'm not just looking for anyone. I'm looking for someone that'll create a video a day for 30 days. Here are the types of videos I want for the 30 days. Here are the hooks I want for each, and all of these collectively are gonna support what I'm doing. Depending on the niche, you're gonna get like 30 to 100 influencers to do that. So I mean, think about it, times 15 each, times 30 each. And the percentage of people, first of all, you make a bunch on TikTok itself or TikTok Shop, but the percentage of people that decide, I don't, for whatever reason, trust buying on TikTok, or maybe they don't trust, they just prefer to buy on Amazon, is a high enough percentage, coupled with the external traffic that Amazon sees, to just be mother's milk on Amazon when it comes to ranking. So one of the things I would do that I've not seen anybody do yet, and my prediction is this year we're gonna see it, is brands collaborating with those influencers on complementary products. I think the brands could save money with the amount of influencers and therefore get more influencers by doing that. And if you pick the right, like if you're doing it for more than just saving money, if you pick the right brand to collaborate with, I would say both of them should really complement each other or elevate each other. So it should work even better. That would be one way. I think the logistics on this would be harder, but I would imagine there's some cool things brands could get together on and create some unique bundles. Like there's somebody here in the group, a friend of mine, Ricky, some of you guys know, with the brand Creations by Natalie. He could find somebody else's products that are here that are complementary to what his has, and he could put them as part of his kit or his set. And when somebody buys that, they're now exposed to that other brand. And when that thing runs out, they're not gonna go buy the whole kit again, they may just want that thing, and they're gonna be, oh, like, let me get the such and such brand to do that. Like, those would be two off the top of my head to do it. Tell her she's cheating though, because this is the beginner hour and that's not a beginner question. Just kidding.
Wait, sorry.
Yeah.
So just to reiterate what you said, like, when you said, oh, you do something and then you have all these influencers contacting you, what program is that again on TikTok? Like, is that their influencer program? Like,
So, I don't want to send you off on a wild goose chase here. So there is a bunch of influencer platforms that we talk about, like Levanta, Join Brands and stuff.
Right.
Those are great. They have their place. I'm specifically talking about Discord in this case, and specifically these Discords. There's one called Creator Circle.
that's on TikTok.
It's on Discord.
Discord is a platform.
Discord is what I would call a CD communications app.
Oh, it's an app.
Yeah, it's an app. Think of it like a Telegram messenger. If the dark web had a choice communication platform, I would say it's Discord. That's my 2 cents, but it's a gamer.
You actually download it onto your computer.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's a gamer thing. Put it like, the only reason we don't use Discord instead of Telegram is I find that there's a learning curve to it, and it's a little overwhelming to some people, and I'm just like, wait a minute, I need people to communicate easier, not learn how to communicate.
Right.
Right, so we didn't do it, but once you do get into it, it's a fantastic place to have a lot of organization in your conversations. But you should be able to just Google Creator Circle Influencer Discord Community.
Creators Circle.
Yeah, the other one is Creators Corner. I would do the same thing. They have landing pages that you can go to get access.
Wait, 1 second. The sentence, Creators Corner, what was the one you said? Creators Circle?
Creators Circle?
Influencer.
Discord, influencer, that's just how I would search for it, like,
Okay.
yeah.
So Discord is on the web and also an app.
Well, I'll look real quick. I think I'm making
Do
it.
you use it through the app?
I think.
Yes, I think the only place you can do it is through the app. I'm saying you have to find the link to get to the app with it. Like, you could download Discord. It's like saying, I'm gonna download Telegram. But then somebody else is saying, well, there's a Telegram community called Wizards of Ecom.
Right.
Well, when you download Telegram, you don't automatically see that.
Right.
You now need to go to a link, a web page. For us, it's wizardsofecom.com/chat. And when you get there, there'll be a link to join that group.
Okay.
So same principle here. So I put Creator Circle, Discord.
If you go to the App Store, are you gonna just find Discord?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just searched for just to check, I put Creator Corner, Discord, it came up, shows Discord, and there it is.
Okay.
And then you can join them. Some of them, almost all of them will let you get into a free portion of it. That's not where the money's at. Some of them then have a course that you can get into and mess around with. And then other ones have like a really advanced program that you can get into. What I was referring to here with Kate's question is you can go in as a brand,
Okay.
and there you're talking to the people who run that community.
Oh.
And you're saying, hey, this is my brand, what do you have working for you? So we just, this is gonna rabbit hole into some cool stuff, and if you guys wanna switch subjects, we can, but I think this is a really important topic,
Yeah.
right? So, you guys are familiar with the Amazon Influencer Program? Okay. It's a very easy way to make, I'm gonna say a couple $1,000s a month within 3 months, no money down. I tried to poke holes in it to say it was BS and it worked. And all it is the products you have lying around your house that you've already bought. You're just doing a quick little video, preferably with you, but if you don't want your face on, you don't have to, and you do a quick little video of the product, you upload that product to the respective detail page on Amazon, and now anytime someone on Amazon looks at that video to decide to buy the product, Amazon pays you a commission of the sale plus anything in the cart. So that's the principle.
And they have to look at it for a certain amount of time.
It's
correct?
seconds, yeah.
Yeah.
They need to look at it for seconds, you make a commission. I prefer somebody do that when starting off than doing arbitrage, personally. I think it's a better use of your time. So then, a very similar side to that is on the TikTok side.
Okay.
So what TikTok does is you have the TikTok that, hopefully you guys know TikTok, and then TikTok has another side to it, which is the back end, which is the creator side, okay? You don't see it unless you go in, logged in as a creator. Different than the TikTok
So
you're,
same as an influencer or different? Isn't that,
they're called creators.
they're not called influencers
Right,
on TikTok?
right. We refer to them all as influencers, but they're
Right.
called creators.
Okay.
So then on TikTok, you now have the public facing side where you consume, we do, us normal people, and then you have the creator side. The creators want to make money. Now you have the brands, TikTok Shop, so we got these 3. The brands want to work with the influencers, but there's always been this huge disconnect in communication. I don't know how to work with brands don't trust working with me, so TikTok creates this thing where it's like, okay, brand, you say, when you list your product on TikTok Shop on the back, say, anybody who creates content to sell this product, I'm willing to give up, I'm gonna use a huge number just for purposes, you don't have to do this, 50%, right? I'm willing to give up 50%. The reason this number is important is because in the supplement space, you can get away with some stuff like this. If you've overpriced your product, you can give away 50%. You're selling a product for $120, you're giving away $60, so a creator's just heard, oh my God, I can make $60 anytime one of these things sells. So they create a video on it, and they connect a link to that offer from the brand. So if you're looking at TikTok now, you see the shop buy now button on the creator's video. Anytime somebody clicks on it and they buy, TikTok automatically, the creator does not have to communicate with the influencer, none of that needs to happen, creator gets paid. Brand is able to cap how much they're gonna pay, you know, how many offers they're willing to do, all that jazz. So, you're with me on this. Now, what's happened is, everyone wants to make some money on the creator side like that, but brands only want a certain caliber of influencer to work with when they're reaching out to influencers. So what these channels have done, and what I've been motivated to do and start, we actually brought someone full-time onto the team named Erica, who's been working now for what was a month and a half? A month and a half now on this, was validating this side of it. And that is, these Discords are they're charging you to go through a course, nominal fee. But when you've gone through the course, what they've done is they now can point to you as, you are someone that knows how to create videos of a certain caliber, you're educated on what brands want, we've educated on you on how to work with a brand. So they have this army of people that they can connect you with that are worth it. And that becomes very lucrative. So you go in as a brand to that Discord and you're like, oh, I'm looking, this is my brand, this is the offer I'm willing to put together. What kind of deal do you have? So now the Discord channel person says, okay, here's the package I have for you. They're all different. They're not cheap, right? As you can imagine.
Like, what's not cheap, like,
These are only a few of the Discords, but you can find something in the 5 to 10 range. But to put in perspective, a lot of the brands that are going in here, they're accustomed to spending, I mean, for some of them 50, 100, 200 a month is not, if it makes sense, they'll run it, right? But they would easily have spent that in paid ads across other platforms in a given month. This is going to cost them less.
Yeah.
So it's a big number, but it's less than what they would be spending on the other channels. So it's,
Also, the magnitude of the influencer. Influencers just
Right.
starting out are real cheap. But
Yes.
Big influencer with a lot of followers and everything, their prices.
correct,
Yeah.
absolutely. So it's a very potent combination that makes it easy for the brand to reach into these discords. And we are working on creating something like that, which would be at some point, I don't know, some $50 course that teaches people in the community who are interested in that, regardless of their level, to how to do that. So then brands that I work with or that I know of, I can be able to go to these brands and say, hey, I got hundreds of people here that are dying to do this. They know how to do it and they can crush it. Then the brands in this group can also come in and say, hey, Carlos, let's tap into this thing. And I'm working on putting that together, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to go live on it till about June. In the meantime, though, there's no need to wait for me, so I'm just being transparent and like, go in there now, and those are some of those discords that you can go into and look at, yeah.
Oh, here.
There's
Hi. Hi, Carlos. Two things. Why don't we talk about two things? The first is why don't we talk about sometime in the future how to create a viral video?
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest that because now we're in the Ecom videos part of it actually taking more space of promoting your item. I think knowing how to create viral videos is very important on either platform. So that's my
So
suggestion.
let me answer the suggestion first.
Yeah.
So if you know anybody who claims or has a track record, who can, not only has a track record of putting out consistent viral videos, in a white hat way, not that they pumped their numbers full of a bunch of fake likes and awareness and like, just legit. I will pay to fly them in and for their time to teach a workshop. I have been reaching out on this, and I've said this before.
Many
Everyone
times.
online kind of claims they can do it,
But
and then
never-
when I reach out to them and I'm like, simple, I'll pay you, I'll fly you in, can you just pop your screen open and show me? Like just before I bring you in here and do this, just show me this is legit and not a course you're selling. I'm not judging, but just show me. All of a sudden, there's no one wants to talk. If you know somebody, please make the introduction. Like I'd love to bring it in, and I'd love to do a workshop on it. That's number one. Number two is I feel, well, when it comes to video and stuff, I mean, Scott in the back might be like a genius when it comes to TV and video and commercial and like all that stuff. Like that guy back there would be, I mean, we could pick his brain. For me, at like a much lower level, I feel like I'm really good with hooks and payoffs and like, I understand like the structures, but something very shocking to me I learned through Erica in this process that I've been on for the last 6 weeks, and that is, number one, the brands that want to work with her, they don't care about her profile. They, as a matter of fact, they don't want it. You could have a profile and they say, create another one. We just want a totally different one from scratch, right? The videos she sends them is like, hey, this is what I can do. She doesn't have the history of creating viral videos.
Okay.
She just said, what are you looking for? And they just, I think, as a matter of fact, Andres, tell me if I'm wrong, I don't think they answered. She just went and saw one of their videos online, looked at it, and said, oh, this is more or less what you're looking for? And did it. It broke every rule of what I would say you should do in a viral video, right? Everything. As a matter of fact, it was a TikTok video, and I was like, you've been talking for 15 seconds, and I don't know the product. Like, isn't that wrong? Broke every rule, and I think she's got like 6 brands wanting to work with her. So, and then the final one is, when these brands go to work with you, they don't put anything to chance. They don't say, just create me a video a day for 30 days. They give you all 30 videos that they want you to do with the scripts, what they're looking for. None of them follow the rules of what is a viral video. So, like, I'm really curious as to like how important that is, and with everybody following the same recipe to create viral videos, is the secret just not doing what everybody else does? That's my question. But if anybody here knows anybody, I would love to, I'd love to do that. Heck,
There is no secret to viral video.
I don't know.
You cannot, it's something that just comes out of nowhere. If there was a person that would say, I know how to create viral videos, that would be the richest person better than you two guys right here.
Yeah, and short of that, if anybody can somehow convince Scott to give up a couple hours for lunch, you guys wanna lean on him, make him feel guilty about it while he's here, and we can get a couple hours out of him one day, I would try to build around that.
TV video is very different.
No, I know, but you know the,
Yeah.
but you know the psychology of like, yeah,
But some of these viral ones I look at and I go, why does it have 2 million views?
yeah, no, but it's,
more, I think it's more related with the algorithm.
Algorithms, yeah.
And I have been studying a little bit about that, and there is 2 things. One is the hook. You need to, on the first less than a second to hook the person. And the other thing is the retention index. When you are telling the story, you need to prolong the time as much as possible to give the answer that you want to give. In that way, the person is gonna stay longer on that video to get the information that you want to share with that.
yeah, how I structure the YouTube videos, and this is, again,
That's
don't
for
look
you.
at me as an expert, but how I structure videos, and I've paid an arm, leg, and a kidney into like coaches and everything for video content, is usually a video has about 7 hooks. One of them might not be relevant to everything else, but your packaging pretty much has 2 of the hooks. So maybe the thumbnail and the title that you're looking at, those are 2. Then you have your opening hook, and that's, you lose what, half right there if you don't nail that. So you have your opening hook, and then you have your, I guess your setup, which is another hook, if that's the right word. Maybe that's the after your hook. So in this video, here's the 3 thing. And if the last one's not done right, then you pretty much you're out of business. So that's that. Then you have your loop that you're opening. That's not going to be paid off until the end. And then you have the payoff of your 3 hooks, the 3 points you brought up, which is a hook, hook, hook. The payoff of your loop, and then what's unique to YouTube is your closing screen is actually a hook that you need to put somebody into your next video to create a binge sequence. Well, now that you know this, either you need this or you gotta watch it without this. You won't know how to do this unless you watch blank. So like, it's about 7 hooks per video. But does that apply to TikTok? Is it 7 hooks in a shorter time?
I don't think
I don't
so.
know.
Not even like 2 seconds even, that's slow, so really.
But the subject fascinates me. How about
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Like, I would be willing to, if you know someone that's legit, on the stream, if you know someone, put their name in the stream, make the connection. Like, I'd love it to happen.
Okay. Well, the follow-up question for your TikTok shop, and when you go to your marketplace and you see thousands of products on TikTok, how to make a video without the sample? Because you don't want to just donate your money to like several samples, in, let's say goods, you pay for shipping, you pay for the goods, but at the end of the day, you're making video and you're making that, getting that much out there. So you want to just make videos without the actual product on hand.
You're talking about you want to create videos, but you don't have the product on hand?
Yeah.
Or you want to have an army of influencers do it without having to give up the cogs and the shipping to
Yeah.
get your product to them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you do that?
Well, one, you probably need to scratch unboxing video, because that would be one video you're not going to touch, and I think it's important, but maybe not the most of what you're trying to do. Maybe that's an Amazon influencer video. So you need to help me here, because I know your product and I can't say it. So like you need to.
No, just be personal. I wanted to I have a shop and it's going really well. And I also want to sell someone else's product I don't have on hand. And those, when I apply sample, they're either not proving or just ignoring me. And I still want to sell that, add it to my showcase, and I want to sell this product.
Yeah, but can you give me an example of a product? And I feel like I could.
Let's say.
Or if not, I'll just say one, and I'll use, again, Erica as the
Let's
example.
say this is a holder. I wanted to, there's one item really popular on TikTok right now. It's the posture corrector to the one. That one's really popular right now. You see someone already said yes. I don't have it, but I don't wanna pay for it. They're not pretty close.
How would I do a video like that?
Yeah.
Okay, I would, keep in mind here, like my superpower is product selection, marketing, and ads, right? So like this isn't, but this is me just like how I would look at this and say I wanted it and I wanted to go to a videographer, how I would approach it. And then I would end it with, please let me know if any of that is crazy and what you think.
Okay.
Okay, so, but what I would do it is I would go and say, okay, there's obviously creative assets of this product online, because you're seeing it. Okay, a video doesn't have to be 100% video with you on screen, you use B-roll. So those creative assets can now be used as B-roll. So any shot that I need to show this product from the back, like hooked on as a harness, I technically could use those creative assets. The product does what? Stabilizes video.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't have a video stabilizer. Why don't I show some video of me shooting video and what it looks like unstable? And then say, you know, it's all solved, and then show the B-roll of this product, which I got that creative asset, and then show video with a stabilizer. I don't need to show that stabilizer. All I need to do is show the same video and how everything is not moving. You're just assuming that I have that product on. I think humans will make some connections
Okay.
naturally, and if you insert other pieces of B-roll creatively, and then you're like, it's so easy to wash. Is there creative assets that show this thing taken apart? Like,
I think you mixed up the two products. She was talking of the posture corrector.
oh, I thought it was a stabilizer that helps you.
No, she started with that.
Oh.
But I see what you're talking about.
So-
A lot of people are doing, they put out workout video, and then at the end, you watch the workout video, and all of a sudden, you see somebody coming with the posture.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
Pull the strap in to fix their posture, and I'm like, wait, I thought I was watching the workout video. And so-
Yeah, but, okay, so if it's a posture corrector, I would just show bad posture, and then I would show good posture. And you know what? I'd show bad posture, then I'd show probably some product that's this big bulky thing, even if it's B-roll, how it looks horrible. And then I would show you with perfect posture with the assumption that it's underneath, and maybe do some like glowing, like this thing's underneath what you're wearing to show this thing can fit under, it's unassuming. I don't know, I would approach it that way.
Okay.
But if I'm gonna put that much effort into it, I would just buy the product. If they want to, just buy it. Like buy the product and shoot the video.
Yes. So for
And not that you should do this, but on Amazon, they even let you return it. So,
my point
A
is.
lot of influencers does
Yeah,
that.
I know. My point is like just.
is it hot in here, guys?
It is.
It's not hot in here. Okay.
So just the point is like, if this is one product, if you're like selling like hundreds of products in your showcase, how you actually really make you don't want to buy all of them. You just want to, how you
Well, if
gonna.
I'm reselling 100 products, then I'm not gonna put as much love into the products as I would
add
if
to
it was
your
my product.
Okay.
I'm not sure, like if I'm reselling a bunch of people's products, I'm not trying to create videos for each of them. Yeah, even most people that have a very large catalog, there's only some hero products in that catalog that they go all in for.
That's true.
Air just turned on.
Oh, good. It was a little hot, right?
I'm comfortable, so yeah.
Yeah.
Coach, what about those two girls over here, Valentina and Mabel?
Yep.
TikTok, weren't they, wasn't their whole thing that they were able to create viral videos on TikTok?
I was so busy with the back end of that, making sure the stream was good. They brought their own photographer in here. So I was just more on host mode than I was listening to their stuff. I know they have a course. I know they have a course, and I know they have some specialties when it comes to TikTok Shop, but that's the extent of what I know. And I admire the organic social media content that they've been creating, but that's the extent of my knowledge of them.
So to answer your Bruce, I had a short conversation with them. They don't have anything, but you can contact them on Instagram. Also,
Give me 1 second.
everything they tell you, just go to use TikTok. Their own AI is called Symphony. You can search everything there. They basically are what they're selling. They don't offer any service. literally just tell me to go to TikTok, Symphony, service, Symphony. Yeah. Anything, you want a hashtag, you want a script, you want a training music, everything I think on, even a training product, you can search on Symphony, it just pops up. It's internal use, like on TikTok, yeah.
So what do you search on
Symphony, that's their AI, internal AI. You have to go through your TikTok account. So they, for the business side, you're gonna see it. Yeah.
Well, that question really got popular. What else? Oh, some announcements, we didn't even get to that, but pretty big announcement. So nobody says they got surprised. Fortunately, this one will be like mid-2026, but anybody see the announcement that UPS is deciding to cut about 50% of its special business relationship with Amazon? So if you, this was a massive, like, how everyone on Amazon specifically, but is not paying attention to this and talking about this, I think is a mistake. But if you don't know, you get very, very heavy discounts with UPS as a preferred carrier, with Amazon if you're doing small parcel delivery. UPS apparently has decided that that needs to start phasing out. And their stock took a hit, but they seem to be okay with it. Like they're committed to it. So I don't think this is an art of the deal play. This is they're pretty locked in on this. What that would mean is if you do small parcel delivery, so you don't do pallets or LTL, your cost of getting products to Amazon is, I'm gonna say, gonna go up pretty considerably. As it is now, I could ship, I don't know, the largest box size you can imagine, under 50 pounds. The largest box size permittable by Amazon, I'm forgetting the exact dimensions on that right now, under 50 pounds. And in some cases, if it's going close, I might pay like 20, 25 bucks. If I'm not doing that and I want to ship a 5-pound humidor as a gift to somebody in Carolina, I'm gonna pay about the same amount, right? So it's heavily, heavily discounted. So if I'm paying 20, 25 bucks to ship a big box of that to Amazon right now, my landed cost per product has only gone up a little bit. But if it goes up considerably, it's either going to make it to where FBA is LTL first, or something pretty dramatic is gonna need to change. I think
that is the reason that I received an email this week asking me to connect my UPS account to Solar Central.
I think, and I know nothing, but I think Amazon we may see those Amazon trucks start phasing in small parcel delivery. Is that good or bad for us? I don't know, but I don't think it's great for them when it comes to antitrust stuff. But I think they may start, or I don't know. Maybe they need to chum up with FedEx, but FedEx already kind of bailed on them and said no. So it's something I would pay very close attention to. It's supposed to fully take effect in 2026. That means probably right before Q4 of this year, they'll start rolling it out. And just make some, do your math. If the products you're looking at and you're like, yeah, I got these products coming in and my plan is to send this in small parcel delivery, and here are my numbers, make sure those numbers still make a ton of sense for you when you're doing LTL. Because I suspect that's where everyone's gonna need to go. Something else, this chat that I'm in with a lot of creators, they have been talking a lot about this app, and I've been ignoring it for a while, but this week I dove into it for a little bit. I think it's worth looking at if you want to start getting into some social selling, and it's called Flip App. it really blew my mind. I was like thinking this was gonna be, you've heard of it, yeah.
What is it, Flip app?
Flip app.
It's an app.
Yeah, and it's like TikTok, really.
It's new?
I would say within the last year, if I had to guess. But it's called Flip app, and it looks amazingly set up for social selling. That is what it's for, to sell socially on the app. Everything there is set up for that. It's very engaging, and they're doing a phenomenal job at bringing in creators. So maybe go in there, secure your business name, and start exploring so you can get ahead of the curve on it. But I don't think it's one of those that's just gonna disappear rapidly.
I have to check, but I think you, as a brand, you can take advantage of the videos that those creators do on your brand, and you can put it in other platforms. Even though you need to put the logo from Flip, but you can take advantage of those videos.
Yeah, one of my previous brands, we did amazing using Amazon Live Video for selling. And there was like a 2-year period that I was thinking imminently everyone's gonna start needing to embrace live video for selling. Looks like I was way too far ahead on that by about 6 years. And TikTok now, and I think COVID has really sped things up. Seems Flip app could be one of them riding that wave, and I do think social selling is something that is going to happen. It's not a matter of if, but when. Some of these questions went way beyond the scope of a beginner hour. Is there any beginner questions that anybody has before we get into the topic of the week?
It's the app.
Yeah, Flip app, yeah.
I swear I've seen this before.
Yeah. No, okay. One final one that I wanted to share. I try to avoid all the AI conversations just because they're overwhelming to me. But I have been using, ChatGPT is my favorite one. ChatGPT rolled out something called Operator. It's on their Pro plan. I got it. And, well, I didn't have to do anything extra. I was on the Pro plan. I think Sora, their video one, got me to go ahead and get the Pro plan. And then this just rolled in and they get it. But what this does is you can have multiple operators running at once, and you could set it to do tasks. Like some of the ones I've done is reorder, add everything, purchase everything I bought last week on Instacart. It will go into my Instacart, it will add everything to the cart, it will check out. It'll prompt me back and it'll be like, what delivery time do you want it to get there? You can have it do things like call, waiting for the IRS to pick up the phone. If you're calling them in the morning, it could be like 2.5 hours. You could just say, call the IRS and start being on hold for me, and as soon as they come through, text me. So you can have it call for you, you can have it fill out forms for you, you can have it use ChatGPT for you. So you could say, I have this idea, I want to create a content calendar for my brand for the next, X amount of months. Here are my top competitors. Build out not just a content calendar where ChatGPT would say, you should write about this, and you should write about this, and this is the frequency, and this is where you should post it. It'll write it, it'll cite what it was using to come up with it, and we'll ask you for any feedback on it to fix it. Today, it did something that I was impressed but alarmed by. And one of my 2025 goals, with these meetups, there's a lot of planning that has to go in. Like, I'll have an idea, and I'm like, yeah, 10 things that you need to know about running your Amazon account. But I can't be like a scatterbrain about it when we start, so I need to organize this. And I'll write down the ones that I think are the most important, and I'll be like, did I miss anything here? And I just ask it, and it'll come out, and I'll be like, oh, whoa, I have that, but I said it a different way, but this makes me think about a story where this happened to me, let me add this here, and it makes the events better. With the amount of events we do, like, it helps. So today, I had a rough morning, and I asked it to check what I planned on sharing with you guys now, because I was creating a meetup event. Instead of saying because I was gonna host a meetup event, I said because I'm gonna create a meetup event. That one little mistake there, it did the work, it went into Meetup, it created a Meetup event, it looked at the thumbnail style that we use for everything, realized that I was the one hosting, created the thumbnail with me on it, made the announcements. These meetups have a live stream. It then went into YouTube, created the live stream, scheduled it for the time we normally do, and it was all under 2 minutes. Oh no, and then we do emails announcing it. It went into ChatGPT, wrote the emails, tweaked the emails in under 2 minutes and gave it to me. And I was just like, oh my God. Yeah, I was a little alarmed. Yeah. And it's because I put create instead of host. So it knew that it took that, it needed to create that for me. I recommend checking it out. The pro plan is $200 a month, but if you sit down first and think of what are all the tasks you do on a daily basis, and you should be easily, hopefully after today specifically with the types of tasks that we're going to talk about, you should easily be able to justify that. And you can have multiple operators running at the same time. Any questions on that? Any clarification? No? Okay. Cool. And for those of you that use the PLMA catalog that we have, what that means is you could say, go into the catalog and find this, and then email all of them on my behalf. They could call on your behalf. Like it's wild. All right. Let's get into the topic. Since we have a...
Are you gonna teach us one day on how to make a operator?
I could pull it up, but it's not I didn't build anything. That's the thing about Operator. I'm not talking about creating a GPT. I don't know how to do any of that. It's something called Operator, and it lets you know an idea of some of the things that it can do. But so far, it can do anything. Go book your hotels, go find your flights, I mean...
Did you have to give it access to all your, like?
Initially, one time.
That's what I'm saying, so like, let's say you get that code.
But I didn't give it access to my Meetup or my YouTube, but apparently because I have my passkey stored on my computer with facial recognition on my computer, like I'm like that.
Yeah.
It just knew it was me there and just went in and did
So
it.
you can do this and you don't have to go and specify what it has access to, it's just everything that's on your computer?
I'm sure you can do that. I'm going to do that now that this happened. But
What do you mean, like block out?
like, I don't want you in my seller account. Like,
Right.
yeah, I don't want them to like cuss out seller support. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm exaggerating, but like, I don't know. Like,
That's a little
it needs to kind of prove it to me.
Yeah, like, so, okay, so now it knows your social, like, it's a little weird, like.
Do you really think that stuff's hidden? Like,
No, I don't.
right, so like, could it?
Yeah, listen, yes, it's public knowledge, right?
Right. I get it. I'm not saying it should exist or not. I'm saying it's here. It's a tool. Your competitors are using it. And the whole example I like to give when I'm talking about goals and building a team and scaling, Jeff Bezos doesn't have the same 24 hours in the day that we do. He's got cooks, he's got assistants, he's got all that frees him up to have more time per day to work on certain things. All I'm saying is that operator, and in some cases a VA or something like that, is going to allow you to get that more time, and your competitor is using it. So figure out where you'd like to carve out the time and use it. Since it's $200 a month, I'm not trying to say that that's nothing, but
How much?
$200 a month.
Sure.
But I mean, most of these tasks here would more than justify that. It's significantly less than if you hired a VA. Like, so it's a deal. Yeah.
Sounds like a facility for ChatGPT.
It's wild. It can talk to you. Like, you can activate voice. It's got my attention now. Everything else was like, that's super cool. what happened today was a bit alarming and exciting. So
And it's gonna put a lot of people out.
I think people that weren't really pulling their weight in certain areas, or that were kind of like, you know, I do 10 hours of work out of 40, and I quickly, you know, the people that do the minimum to get by are not adding a great deal of value. I think those people are done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they get a wake-up call. Maybe that's the wake-up call they need to like get going. Yeah. All right. So I wrote a lot of this stuff down because there's 10, and some of you like to come back and say, what was number 8, right? So I have it here. Also, if you don't want to write all of these, and you're okay with my weird notes here, just let me know, and I'll send you this doc that I have, which will be my notes, okay? Huh? Send to me, okay. And I'll send this to you. So we spend a lot of time talking about the sourcing the product, like what a lot of us would consider the sexier side of the Amazon stuff, finding this cool product, your factory, the shipping, and all that portion of it, listing creation. But there is a lot of stuff that needs to be done on a daily basis with once you have launched. If you're not working with anyone, or you don't have a team member, all of this is on you. There is a lot more than 10 things. These are just the 10 that I feel like if you do these, you should be in good shape. If I miss one that you guys are like, Carlos, how did you not mention this? Say it, so I can add it. It was difficult to pare it down to 10. Some of these are kind of like when I used to be the only person running my account. This was my daily ritual, right? The first one, which I didn't add, was log in and see that I don't have a red flag at the top saying that my account was suspended. Like, that was a big one for me. But that's not number 1. But after that, I immediately moved over to look at sales metrics. You got to look at, I looked at my sales metrics. Now, what are the different metrics? For everybody, it's going to be different. I was talking with a friend of mine recently, and he's like, I'm hiring a VA. I noticed when I'm in his account, I was like, you've never created a report in the history of your account. Like, how do you know what's going on? And he just admitted, he goes, I'm busy doing a bunch of things. I never pulled a report. I never did anything. What metrics should I look at? What report should I do? And I was like, you know, I think too much information at first would also be overwhelming, but at a minimum, he's a private label product. I said, I think it would be good for you to get an idea of at an ASIN level, like, how many impressions did you get? Like, how much traffic did you get? How many impressions did you get? How many clicks did you get from those impressions? What's your conversion rate? And the relationship between those metrics. And then total sales, so that you can make decisions like, say you have plenty of traffic already coming to your listing. Maybe the main thing you should be doing is not trying to get more traffic, but converting more of the traffic that you have. What you would do for each of those is a world of difference. If you didn't want to do them yourself, who you spoke to do those things are two totally different people. More traffic, more eyeballs on your listing is probably a paid ad thing, and you got to start thinking about paid ads. Increasing your clicks, now we're talking about main image optimization. We're talking about your title. We could be talking about your price some, but those are the 3 levers that you have to play with. But it's going to allow you to look at this and then do something actionable. You could be like, okay, I think our clicks, I think our CTR, I think our clicks suck. What could we do differently here? And then it dawns on you, wow, this is the same main image we had 4 years ago. Simple, but you don't really know it unless you look at this. So I think you should look at your total sales. I think you should look at your returns. I think you should look at your subscribe and save if that's relevant for you. Your impressions, clicks, and sales, like as a starting spot for what you want to look at. not to not be overwhelming. Anything anybody else would like to add that they look at? And try to think of, like, for somebody that's just starting off, that's a fair list, yeah? Any questions on what those are? Yeah.
I know, we do some like wholesale, resale stuff.
Yep.
Every day, every morning, first thing I like to look and see, sometimes Amazon will send me notice like our pricing is not right, and it'll list our items, so I check that to make sure that the item is sellable every day.
Okay, so, well, so I have that in here. I would call that, I'm gonna call that catalog management, like, or, so that would fall under just your overall general account health catalog management. Like, you have an IP complaint, did some listing get suppressed? That's a never-ending thing as well. It's also not unique to wholesale and reselling. Like, it happens on the private label side too. Yeah. The next thing I'm gonna look at is I want these sales to continue. There's always this fear of going out of stock. So I'm looking at, I wanna know the inventory levels. I wanna know, like, does our forecast need to be adjusted?
Is that number 2?
Yeah. Some of these too, I tried to put them in some sort of order that at first that was sort of like a priority, but depending on where you're at in your business, I mean, there's gonna be one down here that says ensure compliance. You're like, and we'll get to that one, but if you are anywhere close to the medical space, if you're in supplements, if you're whatever, that's a priority. Like, that's a top. You guys, you need to make sure all you're compliant. If you sell a kid's product, compliance is a hot one. If you have a product that is anywhere near the word libido or like sexual wellness or anything like that, you're constantly like, okay. So monitor inventory levels, ensuring that you have sufficient stock levels. Does anything else need to be shipped? Checking on this once a week is usually a really bad idea. Like, somebody needs to be looking at this. You never know, especially nowadays, if some influencer's gonna, put some video out there and you're super happy about it, right? But had you caught this 5 days earlier, you had a chance of staying closer in stock. So I think someone should be looking at this daily. Good news here is a lot of softwares can automate some of this. I don't trust technology a great deal. So, and I think from just doing this before these softwares were around, I still like to take a look. But pretty much every software out there does it. The one that's really good right now, Sellerize. Sellerize is great for that. Jesus, it's hot. Customer feedback. I'm super anal about this. I want to check reviews daily. As a matter of fact, one of the first things I did, well, let me say this, even when I was doing it, and not that this is healthy, I was constantly in my phone and on my account. I do not think that's healthy, but that is what I did, just to not be hypocritical. I was constantly in this. This is my business. I'm responsible for it. I'm checking this at inappropriate times. Like, I rolled up, I'm checking out, looking out of my bed. I'm walking with it to the bathroom. I'm looking at it in restaurants. You don't have to be me, but I checked it all the time. I find that your best shot at avoiding negative reviews, overturning negative reviews, dealing with customer support is timeliness. The quicker you can address this, the better. So.
For the review, we've been selling for thousands of items. We only have very minimum reviews. Those reviews I didn't request for. It's actually the buyer wanted to give us 5 stars, which is good.
Product or seller? Reviews.
Things our company review.
Seller reviews.
Seller, yeah. So for, in general, Amazon usually just the price is pretty high because of the track fee, so we can't even sell lower to take a loss because we wanted to keep the profit certain level. So on our seller side, we already feel a little bit guilty for the price is kind of high. Would you still consider sending out the review class to buyer to have them to give us
So you sell a product,
Yeah,
y-
it's
y-
overpriced.
you feel that,
It's overpriced.
well, you feel like it's overpriced because you're raking in a bunch of profits? Or is it overpriced because you got it for $5 from the store, nobody else has it listed on Amazon and you're selling it for 30?
Yeah, like that.
Right.
Yeah. It happens a lot at the arbitrage point, yeah. Because people will complain, I don't get this like $1 at the store. Why would I have to pay 15 for this? I get this a lot. Even when I do.
Well,
Yeah.
I always like selling a product for a higher price. I think there is a line somewhere that is gouging, and it seems like that's what you're playing, like what you're dancing around. I used to give this example a lot when Toys R Us was around, because Toys R Us was like on the arbitrage side, it was like a money printing machine. Like you just go in there and just run the cart around and leave with thousands of dollars. But if Toys R Us had, like you have Transformers, you have Optimus Prime, and then Toys R Us would have a deal with them to where they would have the Optimus Prime that had the orange gun. I don't know. That's the only way you can get it, was a Toys R Us one. If my son wanted the Optimus Prime with the orange gun, and I lived in Nebraska, and I don't know, I'm assuming Nebraska, and the closest Toys R Us for me was 6.5 hours away, I'd be so happy that I could buy the thing for $30 on Amazon. So like, that's me personally. I mean, it's to be able to get it delivered in 2 days to my house instead of a 6.5 hour drive, or getting with Toys R Us and trying to communicate with them to mail me something, I would be so happy to pay the $30. So fees are high on Amazon. Like if they get this from $1 in a store, they can't expect to buy it for $1 on Amazon. There's no money for that. They could go to the store. So like, I don't think, maybe you shouldn't feel as guilty as you are. The other part of it is, if you know that you are already getting a bunch of people that are upset and they're saying, I am not happy that I paid for this, because maybe they feel like they were duped, I would not send a group that I thought was majority unhappy with my product a request for a review. So like, you gotta weigh that out. And then also, if you're in that position, I don't feel like those business models are very sustainable. Like, you're on shaky ground. Like, it sounds like somebody has a supply chain issue, and when they figure it out, they're never gonna run out of stock, and you're not gonna have your arbitrage opportunity. So like, yeah, I'd be looking for another golden goose.
You have to look at your return rates as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really a problem to see the return rate being higher.
Yeah.
And then you look at your gross profit dollars, and say, is it worth it, whatever, it's at different price points. Return rate.
Well, it happens a lot at the arbitrage, because you wanna buy low, sell high.
Mhm.
And then people know
Yeah.
the value of it, or when they come to like, there's something like 2-star review or something.
But if the return rate's acceptable, then maybe that problem is not as big of an issue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't satisfy everyone, so whenever we get a type of review, it's just for like, I don't know,
Out of curiosity, I think that brings up a cool point, and it just made me think of something. There are some categories on Amazon where you cannot do a return, right? You receive a product, you're pissed off, and you can't leave a return. What do you do? Like, what are the creative ways you guys lash out for something like that? You're right, you do, right. Yeah, a review where? On Amazon, right. Okay, you don't ever reach out to the website of the brand and try to resolve it there? As buyers now, like putting your buyer hats on.
Give them refund money, what we're gonna do, I just request an Amazon review.
Who here leaves negative reviews, by the way? Warranted negative reviews, as a buyer. You do, you would.
I mean, honestly, ever since I got.
You don't have to defend it, it's okay.
I've also always gave so many good reviews. And
Okay, you're a reviewer.
And I bought like this dog shampoo, and I don't know if it's shampoo or whatever, my dog was having issues. And I
Because you got the money back.
When I got the money back, yeah.
Well, that's you though.
Oh,
That's me.
what would you do?
I have empathy.
On your, you just don't feel very happy about it. Like one star review for this, even you got the money refunded. People usually don't think, especially on TikTok. Younger people they don't think.
Yeah.
They just, oh, I didn't.
I don't think that's isolated to just younger people, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I wasn't in doing this, I mean, I don't think I used to review here and there, but now I do like everything just because I know how it feels.
I have this list of like 20, you have to check all 25 boxes for me to give you a negative review, because I feel so guilty that it's some brand. And I was like, now if I know I'm talking to the owner, might be less boxes to check, but I'm like, the owner has no idea that this idiot is on the other side doing this level of customer service. So I'm hesitant, you know, but anyhow, just, I was curious.
Really quick, I want to say one quick thing. There's two people that I came across in the last few years, friends,
And there was like expensive DJ equipment, and one was like other things. Oh, just get the new one, switch it with your old one, and send it back. I do it all the time.
I would never do that. That is like such bad karma. Like people really take expensive stuff, put it in the box. That is not cool.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
it happens every day. I know, it's terrible every day.
Carmen, you a negative reviewer?
Never.
Never left a negative review.
Never. Really?
Uh,
Oh, I don't leave reviews. Oh, I do.
I'm gonna say I have under 3 in my entire buying history, but,
Do eBay count? Like, you know how eBay has the stars? They
oof.
count 4
No,
stars?
eBay counts, it counts. Well, I don't consider a 4-star negative review. I've left 4 stars.
You get nowhere.
I'd rather, if it's a 3 and under, I won't do it.
I had that instance where the product was good, but you charged me the shipping was back, so you get 5 stars.
They gouged you on the shipping, so you felt duped. Same thing. Okay. Oh, Carmen, where are you? Anywhere. Do you negative review on Yelp? Whoa.
If they deserve it, yes, of course. I've written some really good Google reviews. They deserve it. I get a lot of like, thank you. Comments. You know, there's services out there that just should not be allowed. So I do leave reviews, or if I think it's great, I would do it. But it has to be an extreme of like terrible or amazing.
Okay.
Amazon, I think that's in the entire time, I left more than 5 reviews in a month
Of any kind.
for things I purchased.
Right. Okay.
We all probably did Uber. 5 stars, 3 stars.
I've had an Uber driver fall asleep, and I didn't leave a negative review. I've had several Uber drivers nod, and I said, stop, pull over. I'm on the expressway. I just stop. No. I'm okay. I'm not going to leave you a negative review, but let me out of the freaking car. Like, we're done. Like, it was not. But I had one fall asleep. Yeah. I had one fall asleep, and I had a Didi in China fall asleep on me and, like, go off the road. Yeah, and we didn't even speak the same language. And I was just like, I like really leaned over him because I'm in the back, right? And I'm leaning all up on the, like leaning up on him on a cage. I'm like what pretty much looks like this like jail cell in the back of this taxi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and oh man, he fell asleep. Like,
I had an Uber crash in the middle of the freeway in Mexico.
oh no.
That was a little beautiful.
All right, so we've done review sales metrics, monitor inventory levels, customer feedback. Optimize listings. So this is, I'm gonna do these next 2 together because they overlap a lot, but it's optimize listing and monitor competitors. There's some overlap between the 2, which is why I wanna do them together. But optimize listings is gonna be updating your product listings for better visibility. If you have one listing, this might not be a daily thing, but you should be looking at the monitor competitors on a daily if you do. If you're launching, I don't think you should be like tweaking the text and your main images every day, but some of what I'm talking about is, you know, you're looking at the metrics, you're seeing that you're crushing on, you know, XYZ keyword. It's not prioritized in your title or in your product detail page. You'd be doing a lot better if you did do that. Starting to consider the rewrite of your page, prioritizing the keywords that you're doing better on. So that's what that would look like.
You said a quick point there. You said you shouldn't mess around with the, like on launch, you shouldn't mess around with the
No, well, not just on launch. Well, when you launch, you should have messed around with it as much as you were going to mess around with it and then launched. But you shouldn't ever, I don't know of a scenario that says that it's a good idea to make changes to your listing every day. The algorithm, like for example, this is really common. Somebody comes to me with a listing, the main image is trash. I'm like, hey, the main image is trash, but they're getting sales. I'm like, we need to redo this. They spend hundreds of dollars into this amazing main image. We put it up there. Sales go down. Right, they go down, and they go down, I mean, a total freak out. Guess who's the enemy number one, right? It's me, it's my idea, cost me hundreds, and now you're costing me hundreds per day in lost sales. And in about a week, it picks back up, and now it goes way beyond what it was before. So sometimes even you adding an improvement, the algorithm needs time to digest it and to show that it's a better, you know, Miguel, you know, yeah. So if you're doing stuff every day, you're never giving it a chance to see what's what. Right. And then you might be reacting to stuff that was 3 versions ago of something that you did, so you can get lost quick.
Is there like kind of a, I don't know, is it per product or is there like a rule of thumb, like for you, like, okay, I change it every month, every 3 months?
I think there's nothing wrong with, remember, a change could be moving a keyword a couple places closer to the front of the title, all the way to I'm redoing the whole set of main images on my listing.
What if you were really happy with that? Like, sales are good, like you're meeting maybe even a little better, would you just like leave it?
No.
Really?
I would test. I mean, my appetite for a major test would be a lot less. But what's good? I'm not losing, or
Good is you're exceeding your expectations.
that's never, I've never exceeded my expectation. Like, that's never happened. I'm still waiting on that. That's still, there's always more. Yeah, no, that's never happened. I think on paper that's happened before, but when we get into the thick of it, like, well, if that's 100, what does 125 look like per day? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't, and will I, if I knew how to get to, I think what happens is you get to, let's say 100 per day in sale, 100 units per day in sale. I don't know why I'm using that number, but you start selling 100 units per day in sales. It's nice. So it's 150, right? So I knew how to get to 100. If the way you got to 100, you're not sure of how you did it, like you just listed the product and you're like, oh my God, I somehow just came to 100, units a day in sales. This has exceeded my expectations. I don't know the levers that I pulled for this to happen, but I'm just so happy. You're probably terrified to do any changes because you don't know how to replicate what you did. So in this case, I'm very clear as to what we did and to how we got here. I'm gonna make some changes. Like, we're gonna edit. I'm gonna see how we can get this to 150. And if I don't, and it's a failed thing, I at least know how to get us back to 100. Like, it's just part of it. You gotta be testing.
But also, don't you have to do that according to your inventory?
I mean, am I trying to do a major change to increase sales knowing I'm about to go out of stock? No. But if I have time as part of my day-to-day here, I also don't wait to get fully back into stock before I start working on those optimizations.
Yeah.
You could be doing pick foods, you could be working with the freelancers, you could be doing all those things ahead of time, not the moment you need it. And that's actually I would say one of the most massive weaknesses amongst most sellers that I know. And I have the privilege of looking at a lot of different seller stuff. Either it's the trust that they have after so many meetups and they show me, or it's on the client side or whatever. It could be behind an NDA, whatever the case may be. I have the opportunity to look at a lot of stuff, and I'd say almost everyone, that is one of the most massive weaknesses they have. And they'll come, and some of you, if you feel good enough to raise your hand on this, you can, but they go get their photo shoot. They got their product photo shoot, and they show it to me, and it looks great. There's one main image. That's it. There's nothing to test. Like, they never even shot other looks for this potential main image. yeah, you're right, one of them's gonna be the winner, and that's what you're gonna use, but they've not even allowed themselves to get to the spot of, like, testing is like not an option. That they only created one main image. There should be many. So then later on, when you start talking about, well, it's the holidays, you should have one that has a little bit of a holiday look, or some people will put the bow. Nobody took the time to even create those other looks to begin with. So this optimizing the listing and monitoring your competitors and constantly evolving is more of a foundational, if you will, way you approach this that a lot of people don't. And with AI, it just makes it a lot easier, so.
How often do you think that too late sellers change their
How? Oh, that's the one we're on. That's the other part of what we're on now. Monitor competitors. I used to do this in my head. That we did it on a Google Doc, and then Carmen, what's his name? It's a brilliant guy. He does Top Dog. Tomer Rabinovich. Yeah, a guy named Tomer Rabinovich. I recommend following some of his stuff online. But Tomer one day is on the Serious Seller podcast, and he mentions how he uses a PowerPoint. And what he does with the PowerPoint, and you could do this, is one of the PowerPoint slides would have his top, I don't know, 5, 6, 10 competitors' main images. So on one look, you could see all of them. And then another one was the second, the third, and whatever. And really quickly, you can look at that and look and have the tabs open looking at your competitors and quickly see who changed their main image. What was changed? You know, sometimes it's like, oh, that looks different. But you have no way, unless you look at that screenshot, to see what it was before. There's just no way to do it. I guess there's time machines and stuff, but I don't know how to use it. Like, and you're not gonna do it. But this allowed you to do it. The tool I'm using now that I discovered through a YouTube coach that works amazing, but it's not free, whereas I think PowerPoint is Milanote, M-I-L-A Note. And you can create Milanote boards and put the main images of your competitors on there. And then you can see how often people change their main images. Yeah. And if you're somewhere and you're like, my competitors don't change their main images, so why should I? No, that's an opportunity for you to go from 1 to 150. The other thing about monitoring your competitors is coupons. This is what you want to look for every day. You'd be surprised how many people make changes to their ads based on, you know, performance dipping, but don't realize that it had to do with a flash sale, a lightning deal, or an aggressive coupon that was added to the competitor's page, and that's what's impacting you temporarily. You don't need to make any changes. Just let this thing run its course. They're making a play for some more market share. You know, back off. You know, what you're doing works. Pricing.
That's it.
Yes. Adjusting price. In the private label world, I don't know of any repricing tools that I like enough to, that I like enough or have used enough to recommend. In the resale world, everyone there's lots. I recommend SellerSnap. On the reseller world, like you should be using SellerSnap to do repricing. Private label's a little more complicated than that. In a reseller, it's you and say 10 other people on a listing, and everyone's kind of jockeying for the best price. And this is happening. They're probably using software, so this is happening, you know, several times per second, per minute. And you can't be in there manually reacting to that. So putting in a repricing software that has robust rules and that's really flexible, that can go up and down and do all that, like SellerSnap does, is important. It'll pay for itself immediately. In the private label world, you don't have other people competing with you on your product. Nor do you want, like if you sell a milk frother, nor do you want to react, like say you sell a luxury milk frother, you don't want to be reacting on price with some random factory that added from China their milk frother on China for $2 and they're not luxury. Like you don't want to be, you're a different product. You don't want to be competing with them on price. You don't want to be reacting to their price. So there's only certain people you do want to react to. There's a software out there now, Chad Rubin created it, called Prophecy. I don't have enough experience messing with it to recommend it here. But what I can say is that you should be adjusting your price. Most sellers I know could sell their product for more, but they just don't take the time to look at their metrics and understand. All they think of is, I'm gonna get less sales. They're not paying attention to the profit metric. It's a chore, like it's work to be able to do that, and it requires you to really be on top of your metrics. But selling, if you have a $10 product, let me see if I do this right. If you have a $10 product, which you're probably not making any money, but if you're selling a product for $10 on Amazon and you start selling it for 11, what is that? That's a 10%. That's a 10% increase in profit. Like, profit. That's massive. A 10% increase in profit. That's $1. You know, a lot of the times, most people I know, like if you did a nicer image, you invested in a nicer image, you could easily add $4.99 onto what you're doing. So I encourage you to play with your price. If you're selling on multi-channels, like the eBays and Walmarts and your website and all that there, this is probably, I would say, pretty advanced. So for anybody that's not been selling for a while, this may just seem Greek, but consider what Dr. Squatch did, the soap. They create a new UPC for each of their products on each of the channels so that it can't be price matched. And then if they, in their case, and this might not apply to everyone, but if they sell a single pack, a 3-pack, and a bunch of other stuff, they remove the single pack from the channels that crush them on fees. Like Amazon has high fees, but they have traffic on their website. If they remove the single pack from those other channels, yes, they take a dip in sales there, but they get an increase in single pack sales on their website where the fees are the least. So they're focused on increasing their average order value, and they're focused on the pricing, controlling their pricing and raising their pricing respective to the platform. It's just not, it just doesn't make business sense to sell. You just don't, the economics are not the same selling the product on Walmart, eBay, and Amazon. They're completely different. So to say that they all have to have the same price is antiquated thinking, in my opinion. It just, you need to put in the legwork in the beginning. This is part of that daily exercise. You're slowly putting this together so that you can pull the trigger in the future to control your price. You with me? I feel like these are getting a little too deep. Yeah? Okay, cool. But just different UPC per platform. What you're gonna pay for that different UPC per platform to do this at a product level is nothing compared to what you're gonna be able to sell these things for more on the respective platforms. Advertising. I'm gonna gloss over this because I created a list of 10 things you can do specifically for advertising, because a lot of you have been asking me about advertising, but I wanna get through this list first. But advertising has easily 50 things you should do on a daily basis for the advertising side. You have to make the choice. Are you gonna do your ads yourself? Are you going to bring someone in-house to do the ads? Are you gonna hire an agency? Are you gonna do a hybrid of the two? You know, I think one of the best ways to go about it, so that I'm not hypocritical here, I did it all myself. I didn't know there was an option. If I was starting all over, I would not go all in and learn ads. I would just hire someone that actually loves the data and stuff like that. But I would make sure that I had someone in-house on my team or whatever on it, and hitting up with the person. There is no agency in the world, not mine or anyone else's, that's gonna be able to or care about your product as much as you do. That is just a fact. Some are better than others, but that's just a fact. Having that sort of hybrid, I think, is the real good approach. Have someone on your team that can constantly interface. I'm doing this like you're beating them up. You're not beating them up, it's a team. But like, no beating up the PPC team. But you gotta constantly look at your metrics and be like, oh, we're down here. What do you think about this? And what can we do here? And what's the goal? That's where you get the most value when doing that. So regardless of what you're doing, you got to make that choice. And whatever choice you make there, that's gonna really dictate what your daily looks like on this. But there is a lot. So that was number 7, manage advertising, but again, if we have time at the end of this, I'm gonna go through 10 more things advertising specific. 8 is tracking your performance metrics, all right? When the main one I track, to be honest, is conversion rate. I'm all over conversion rate, so that's the metric I look at and I plot across a period of time that I want to see like where we're trending. But if you're going to do more, you really do need to get a dashboard. And if you sell on multiple marketplaces, the dashboard I'm beginning to really recommend is one called Ecom Boardroom, as a dashboard for pulling everything together from your Amazon, your eBay, your Walmart, your website, and making sense of it. Oh, and your international marketplaces. Number 9 is the one I hinted at earlier, which is ensure compliance. For some categories, this is not as big of a deal. If you are in supplements or you're thinking about getting supplements, this is a chunk of your day, every day. If you sell kids products, this is a lot. Any questions on that before I get into number 10?
So, I mean, you could give a little slightly different than conversion rate. So, is your theory like if we're converting well, then that means our advertising is working well, our photos are doing well? Is that just tying in to see that's like the number you think is telling if you're doing a good job? Everything else around the product?
Conversion rates, besides sales in my bank account, like conversion rate is my most important that's my, personally, that for me, if I needed to look at one outside of my sales, assuming my sales were right, because sometimes somebody might work on your stuff and they'll come back and say, this amazing conversion rate, and it was like, you crushed 99% of my sales. Of course you got that conversion rate. So like, assuming my sales are going in the right direction, conversion rate gives me since I'm very aware of all the other metrics that go into this, conversion rate for me gives me a great overall sense of what's going on, and I feel like it's the one that if it gets out of control, can have the most damage on your account, like in your business. Your conversion rate goes sideways, like it doesn't matter. So, and to your point, not to mince words, does that mean everything else is working great? It's never all working great for me. It's just the version it's at right now, and it needs to get better. That's it. And I don't even know if that's a healthy thing, but that's what I do. Like, looks great, how can we get a little better? Because I am, in my mind, all of my competitors are sitting around with their team and they're all great and that's all they're focused on. And I don't want them to eat my lunch. Replenishment is number 10. Coordinating with your suppliers never ends. It could be updating your insert cards, your packaging evolving based on feedback that you got earlier. What are things you can do differently about your product? But you're constantly working on that and getting samples. You're constantly looking at when you got to place an order, looking at holidays that are in the future. The one we talk about a lot is Chinese New Year, but there is a lot of other holidays that happen in China when you're working with a factory. A lot of other holidays. Chinese New Year, for some reason, is just the one everyone talks about, but man, they have one that's called like, what's the one that always, it still gets me to this day? It's, is it Cemetery Day or something? Tombstone? Tombsweek. They're just gone, and it doesn't correlate to anything else over here. It's just gone for a whole week, and I don't know why to this day, I always miss it on my calendar. It kills me. But that goes to show you why I don't know. Yeah, it's
a big deal.
yeah, it's.
I think it's like, it's in the spring.
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. But there's a lot. There's just a lot. Chinese New Year. Yeah, which will be the longest one together. But collectively, there's probably 2 more chunks of this spread out through the year. Yeah. So I would just don't do what I did and try to keep it in your head. Look, I can't even think of the day that I'm complaining about right now that I don't get, but like, get your calendar, maybe create a calendar and share it with the group, but just put this in a calendar. And if you're like, this is great, I need to order by X date. Well, you know what? You have to order by X date, well, do it before the holiday. Consider the holiday. You can't be placing the order the day before they go on holiday for a week. So this is something you should constantly be looking at and coordinating with the supplier. Our suppliers record, I arguably have as many communications going back and forth with my supplier as I do my wife. Like, it's constant. You should, remember, you're always evolving different things about your product. If you redo your main image, that main image is probably going to affect the packaging. So constantly be doing that. I did go through that 10, so I'm going to go through 2 that I feel, well, actually I hit on one of these for the wholesale side too, which is a repricer. But that was one that was not as clear cut as it was with private label. And where I have planned for replenishment as number 10, like coordinating with your suppliers that I just talked about, on the resale side, that's really calling your vendors. So on the resale side, I feel like I really excelled against my competitors here because most of them only called their vendors when they wanted to place an order. We actually built we got a CRM and built in it ways to follow up with them and get their birthdays and send them like edible delights and like be very top of mind with them, and if they're local, go visit them. But we were constantly reaching out with them, trying to improve the relationship as a reseller, and it paid for itself a million times over when you do that. But you should frequently be calling your vendors and frequently be evaluating your vendor lists or your product lists. You know, what's back in stock that you can reorder? What should you no longer sell that you're currently selling just because you're not turning it quick enough or there's not enough profit margin? Those are 2 that I would say are very specific to wholesale. Besides the Amazon PPC stuff in this top 10, almost all of this other stuff has overlap to wholesale. Monitoring inventory levels, reviewing your sales metrics. Even as a wholesaler, I was very aware of like customer feedback, having to do with the products. You know, if I see a trend that this thing's starting to have a high return rate and a lot of negative reviews, I'm going to really consider that when I'm about to place a large order again. Everything else kind of carried over. Any questions on that before I glaze everybody's eyes over with the PPC ones? Really? Who here is interested in hearing the PPC ones, by the way? I don't want any, because I can just send you this list. Okay, there is some. You're not. You guys are like done? You don't know PPC? No. Yeah, okay. On the PPC side, I put together a list. I broke 50 and I don't feel like I broke a sweat, okay? So I condensed it to 10. Monitoring your PPC campaigns, which is going to be adjusting bids and keywords based on performance. It's a pretty basic one. I put monitor PPC campaigns. In my notes here it says adjust bids and keywords based on performance. It's pretty basic.
How many days should you take a look at once a week?
Yeah. For what?
PPC, the campaign.
Oh, we look at PPC daily.
Daily.
Well, I mean, it depends. You have one SKU and a $25 a day budget, then no, I mean, there's not enough action going on to really justify it. But even if you're spending $100 or a few $100s a day, I think you should be in it daily. Yeah.
But you consider, because it's gonna be the same as with an image.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to take a little bit of time so that PPC get the data to give the results that you're expecting.
We have some other people in here that do PPC as well and that know ads, so feel free to weigh in. But I feel like campaigns, Amazon PPC campaigns, do get seasoned. So the longer a campaign has been around, the better performance it could have. Like, it could improve. I don't find that to be the case when I'm doing, if I've decided to create an exact match campaign for a single keyword, if I was right in why I created the campaign, it performs out the gate really well. I personally don't have this thing, like if I went and created an exact match campaign for a keyword and I launched it, and I'm like, well, I need to give this 6 days, it's gonna look ugly for 6 days. No, it's not the case. If it, I would shut that thing down immediately. So it would be out the gate for me. So monitor PPC campaign, analyze search terms. So my little description for this one is, for analyze search terms, is identify high performing keywords that I can be putting in manual campaigns. Okay? This will be a shocker for you guys. Optimize product listings. You would have done that already on the other side, but as part of what you're doing for PPC, you need to be looking at that data and making optimizations to the product listings to support what you're doing on the PPC side. I check my budgets and make sure I put just here, manage budgets. So you need to make sure that you're allocating your funds, depending on your budgets, you need to make sure you're allocating them correctly across all of your campaigns. So we'll make sure that's going on. Yep.
What is, and it's kind of general here, but and it probably depends on the category. What is a good ACOS?
Yeah. Well, okay, so let me get, so where 5 is review ACOS, adjust strategies to maintain profitability. That's my least favorite of this whole one, but I felt like that question was gonna come. What is a good ACOS? You tell me, man. Your answer is as good as mine. That's going to be different for everyone. It's going to depend on your if you're launching. Are you based? I mean, if you have a seasoned ASIN that's for 4 years and you're just focused on profitability, you could get the best person in the world who runs ads. Like, I mean, just he has access to the algorithm, like on the back end, right? And the person, and another person who took a course, right? If the person who took a course is selling a $120 jewelry box, and the person who is like God's gift to ads and has access to the algorithm is selling a $12, $15 piece of jewelry, the ACOS for the person that really knows their stuff is probably going to be 65% because it's a $15 product. Whereas the person who took this course could be sitting at like a 7% ACOS just because of the cost of the product. So you would look at that if you just looked at ACOS and you would say that I want the person that runs a 7, you're already nodding with the 7%, that's who you want. It has zero to do with, it's very misleading. So what is a good ACOS? I mean, I gotta give you the answer you probably hate, and it depends. I think you should know what your break-even ACOS is like what is that ACOS you have to where you're breaking even. I think that's a good number to know. Yeah. Anything you want to add, Carmen? You're nodding back there. Either that or you're cold and you're shaking. You're cold. You guys want to raise it? You can raise the air. You want to raise it? You can raise it. Totally, you can, yeah. She's like, not even.
So for the PPC, when you do manual and you do auto, because I remember you mentioned that for once you just launching, you should do auto to grab some attention, and then once you have enough data and you go to.
I just for context, I'm not saying when you start that you should just run auto. I'm not saying that. Now, I don't remember the context of when I would have said that, but the only time I could think of that I would have told somebody to like just run auto is there is instances in the group where somebody will come to me and say, hey Carlos, I came to your group a year ago, I loved what you said, I got a container coming from China, can you help me figure out this ad thing? And I'm like, oh my God, you know what I mean? And then they're like, I can spend $5 a day, but I need to make that money back. And I'm like, what? What? So in that case, I mean, what do I tell them? Look, just gift your whole container. You can't sell a person on a service. You can't send them to a court. I mean, there's nothing that I know to do. If they were adamant and they kept coming back and they were like, just tell me what to do, and I'd be like, look, if I was in that case and you couldn't talk me out of doing ads, I guess in that scenario, I would put an auto campaign and put $5 in it and then pray. But I wouldn't just start an auto campaign. I personally like auto campaigns. They have their place, but I wouldn't start Amazon by just running an auto campaign and then just basing it off of that. Number 6, why everyone is not doing this, I don't know, but I would be using and checking our sponsored brand ads. There are so many people that are not using, like there's this growing trend of people that are just saying, I'm not using sponsored brand ads because it's not helping me rank. But sponsored brand video ads are still absolutely amazing when it comes to launching. It's actually a pretty cool hack if you were to get some people in the group or someone you know to create a little vertical video that you can post on an Amazon post. You can grab the Amazon posts, which is a social media feed within Amazon, for lack of a better description. You can have a whole bunch of posts up there. The posts will show you which ones are performing better. And when you go to create a sponsored brand video ad, you can use your posts as creative for the ad. And you just pick the one that's performing the best, and those are working great. I think Carmen had some feedback on that too. You were sharing, right, a couple weeks ago, like those types of things. Yeah. Organized campaigns. I'm on this every day, and that's making sure that campaign structure's right, that everything's organized right. If you let the organization get out of control, you'll lose everything. We're testing bidding strategies. We know we can be using placement bidding for conversions. So we're constantly testing different bidding strategies. We are always looking at where we're overspending. Sometimes that's just part of the test. For anyone that's keeping track, 8 was testing bidding, 9 is avoiding overspending, and then number 10 is exploring new ad options, which we're constantly doing. That was a lot denser of a topic today than I thought it was going to be. But if it sounded semi-boring, that's what it is. It's semi-boring every day to run all this stuff and to run the business. It's a lot of unglamorous things that you have to do every single day in your business to succeed. And because it's not as sexy as finding a new product, a lot of people neglect it. And you just can't. You can't, or you slowly put yourself out of business, or you are at least leaving a ton of money on the table. All right?
Did you have average order value in the first 10 at all?
Ooh, as a metric to follow?
Yeah.
It is a metric I follow, but I actually didn't add it here as a I would agree that average order value should be added in there. I agree. We have it in there. I don't know why I didn't consider it as a core metric to be looking at on a daily basis, but yes, I would add average order value. Good share. Any questions? Doesn't have to be with anything related to even what we said, because we finished a little early, and I'm not just going to keep rambling here to hold you for 30 minutes. Anybody have any questions? You're good? Was that a question? No? Any questions on the stream? Everything's good? All right. Thank you, everybody. We're going to stay and network afterwards.